In the beginning, we are told that today, by standing on the ground, we'll see the rain of meteoroids falling from the sky. That is, today a lot of pieces of rocks were going to fall from the sky on the ground. Everyone wants to see this scene, because it is quite a rare thing in life. Now, the rain of these meteoroids was going to be heavy. That's why all the space, that is, the programs of the sky are closed from the world. So now everyone could stand on the ground and see the scene with their own eyes. After this, we see the main character of the story, a professor named Alex. He was also ready to see this thing with his family. In addition, different people from all over the world were also looking at the sky through a telescope. They were very eager to see the rain of meteoroids, because everyone wants to enjoy that thing. In the US, a team NASA, whose leader was Dr. Mehdi, was also keeping an eye on this thing with her team. Now this night a lot of big pieces of meteoroids are shown in the sky, whose size was so big that if any of them hit the ground, the world would be destroyed. Now a couple was shown in which the boy was a scientist, and he was going to marry his friend soon. This scientist had also set up his telescope, because, like everyone else, he was also very excited. But his friend wanted to talk to him about marriage. Now it was shown that some big meteoroids were moving towards the ground. Suddenly they changed their direction, and now they started moving towards the moon. Seeing which everyone gets very scared. Then suddenly a big piece of a meteoroid comes to the surface of the moon and gets destroyed. Due to which there was a blast, and a very large part of the moon broke. Due to which now the meteoroid and the moon's rubble start falling toward the ground. Seeing this, Dr. Mehdi immediately informs the president of the US about this. Mehdi and her team find out according to their calculations that in the next hour, this rubble will come and hit the ground, about which they had also informed the president, due to which the whole place is sealed. But after a while, a small piece of the meteoroid came and hit the ground, due to which there was a blast and a lot of destruction on the ground. The scientist immediately reported this to the president of the US. A piece of a meteoroid falls into an ocean in Australia, due to which a very big tsunami wave is formed there. And because of this, in Australia and the surrounding countries, tsunamis began to occur. But so far, so much destruction has not happened, because people had already been removed from there. In a meeting of the president, Mehdi video calls him and informs him about the situation. Because of this accident of the meteoroid, the moon has changed its place. It is getting closer to the ground. From the calculation, we found out that it has come close to 35,000 kilometers of land. This thing is going to bother us a lot. What more impact can it have? We are getting to know about this, and how dangerous this impact can be. This is also being found. After hearing this, everyone becomes very worried. Now the first piece of the meteoroid had fallen in Europe. Here the tourist team, that is, the people who had come to visit, were roaming in the jungle. So their things like machines, devices, compasses, etc. start working in a strange way. The compass, the device that shows them the way, its needle started moving in a strange way. And now as soon as they come to the place where the meteoroid had fallen, because of which there was a big pit there. And because of this, all their devices, machines, etc. were working in a strange way. Mehdi's team member brings her a new report. After seeing this, it was found that due to this earthquake, a tsunami is coming. Seeing this, Mehdi feels that this is not happening because the moon has changed its place. In fact, the reason behind this is something else. Some other impact has happened. Now, because this problem was not being solved by Mehdi herself, so she calls Alex, so that he comes and helps Mehdi. But he refused, saying that since my wife's death, I do not leave my children alone. They were talking that suddenly their call got cut. Then strange things that happen in different parts of the city will be shown, like in playgrounds, gas stations, and many other places. Electricity and current start spreading everywhere, because electricity was being discharged. Because of this, the fire lit in many places. But the scientist does not understand at all that why is this happening? Now we see the scientist whose marriage was about to take place, whose name was Roland. He himself was observing all these situations, and because he lived in Europe, he was giving all the reports to Mehdi, because of which Roland's friend was a little worried, because both were about to get married. But Roland was not giving her time. He was always busy with work, but then he convinces his friend and promises to get married soon. The next morning, Roland comes to the place where the meteoroid had fallen. That is, where the pit was made. He sees that the piece of the falling meteoroid is very small, and there is no magnetic power in it. So he was not able to understand this. Then why did the compass and other devices start working strangely? The compass was repeatedly indicating that direction. He was also thinking. On the other hand, Alex and Mehdi were also talking to each other about this. this, Roland also started talking to them on the phone. He told them that the piece of the Metroid I had found, it is very similar to something made in the sky, which is the mixing of two stars. Listening to this, Alex and Medi now begin to understand that the rain of the Metroid was due to the collision of two stars in the sky, after which the cluster of Metroid began to come towards the Earth. One of them came and collided with the Earth, while one collided with the Moon, but the Metroid that was destroyed by going to the Moon. Because of that, a big pit was made there, and now the Moon is working like a very big magnetic magnet. This is the reason that the Earth and the Moon are moving towards each other because of those meteorites. Both of them fell on the Earth and the Moon, because they are working to pull each other towards the Metroid, which means it was clear that the Earth and the Moon can also collide with each other. Now, all this information is given by Medi to the president, on which he advises that you make your own team, so that you can work on this thing. Because of this, now Medi calls Alex, so that he can also join her team, and this time Alex has to come. When this whole team was formed, a special kind of lab was also made for the team, which was related to the scientists of different countries, and the people who run the space station. The Moon was so close to the Earth that now it was easily visible from the Earth. Because of this, in the next 2 days, everything related to electricity was going to stop. Now at night, Alex and Medi were sitting in a hotel when they were eating. Then suddenly the lab there started exploding by itself. When they came out to check, they found that a very big electromagnetic wave was passing from the Earth, which has impacted the gravity of the Earth. That is, it has the effect of this wave on gravity. Gravity has become very low, because of which everything in the world, like people, cars, bikes, machines, airplanes, everything was flying in the air, and as the wave passed, everything became stable again. That is, it came back to its place. Now Alex tells his companions that because of the collision of the Metroid, the mass of the Moon was less than the Earth earlier, and it has increased more than the limit, because of which the weight of the Moon has also increased. It has become heavy, and this heaviness is affecting the small things on the Earth. If this continues, then very soon the Moon will come very close to the Earth, due to which many more such electromagnetic waves will start coming. Now listening to this, the government makes a plan to stop further destruction. It decides to stop everything like planes, trains, traffic, and people. This news was spread everywhere, that these people have to stay in their own homes. Do not go out at all. After a while, another powerful electromagnetic wave came, because of which people started flying in the air again. And this time the system also stops, because there was a glitch in them. And the way to contact each other, the communication system also stops. A lot of destruction. They were left with no other way than to trust God. There Roland has been trying to call his friend for a long time, but he could not contact him, because when his friend was leaving the train, then the train also falls on the ground after flying in the air. It was completely destroyed, in which many people were killed and many were injured. And in the fallen train, Roland's friend was also conscious. After doing all the calculations, Medi tells the president that within 49 days the Moon will collide with the Earth, and this is a very worrying thing. Before that, we have to do something. Roland's friend was unconscious. Some people came and rescued her. That is, they saved her life and took her from there. Now it has been found that there are only 20% of the countries which are bright because of extra light. Otherwise, there is darkness all over the world except for them. Troubles were increasing, because these electromagnetic waves were coming again and again, and being more powerful than before. Alex's children were very worried about their dad, because they couldn't talk for a long time. There was no call. These children did not know whether he was fine or not. They started insisting on their grandfather. Let's take us to meet Dad. First, he refused, but when they said it again and again, he agreed. He took both the children in the car and started taking them from there to meet Alex. But when they were on the way, a very big electromagnetic wave came again, due to which their car flies in the air and falls far away. They had an accident, in which 3 people were injured. The rescue team had very few things left to save. The team members were also less, so they also did not come to save them. When a very big ship was moving forward in the sea, because of the wave, it also rose up in the water, due to which a lot of his stuff also started flying out. The next moment the ship turned upside down and fell into the water. It was completely destroyed. This caused a lot of loss and financial loss, due to which it was realized that the loss has increased even more. Seeing all this, the president announced to put a curfew. Buses, trains, ships, planes, even people are strongly stopped. Now Medi had found a solution to these problems. She tells everyone that we can fix the gravity of the moon. We should make explosions in its core, that is, the main part. But to do this, we will need very powerful rockers. Because of these explosions, the meteoroids that are on the moon and on the Earth, who are still pulling each other towards themselves, they will then start pulling each other away from themselves. These explosions will then push the moon towards the sun. Then due to the gravity of the sun, the moon will come to its orbit, i.e. its right position, where it should be. But to do all this, only the technology of the US will not be enough. For this, all countries around the world will have to join. But then the army tells a different kind of plan. We can also make the moon fly with the explosion of a normal rocket, with which only a little bit of its broken debris will fall on the ground. Not much loss. And then the moon will go towards the sun. But after hearing this decision, Maddie was not happy, because she felt that there would be a lot of loss in this. Now here the president asks for time to think about both the plans. He talks to different presidents around the world. When Alex found out that my child and dad are not at home, because of which he was very tense. Now people all over the world have found out that we have only a few days left, because of which fights started everywhere. Protests are carried out, because he was angry that the government did not solve this problem properly. And this thing is hidden from everyone. Seeing the deteriorating situation, all the presidents around the world decide to take the army plan. They had prepared the whole mission, because of which the rays of hope were born in people. They start praying that somehow this mission will succeed. Now they have started working on this plan. And finally, the day came when they had to launch the rocket. That is, it was to be sent to the moon for the mission. As soon as the rocket was dropped, everyone, even Alex's child and dad were watching, which somehow survived. As soon as the rocket was launched, it went straight to the place of the moon, where the hole was made by the fall of the meteoroid. There was a big blast, but nothing happens as people had hoped. This mission fails completely, seeing which everyone's eyes were open due to trouble, because now the moon started moving towards the Earth even faster, and now it will collide with the Earth 5 days before, because of which everyone is afraid again, because the moon also broke while rotating, and the moon meteoroid also changed its place. That is, now the problem had increased, so now people are thinking of taking the plan of Maddie. Here Alex tells everyone that we will have to magnetize the core of the moon, so that the moon becomes a very big magnet. This will make the moon and its big meteoroid will remove each other's anger, after which the moon will go into the gravity of the sun, will start rotating in normal orbit. But for this we have to make a magnetic device on the moon. So now these people decide that we will set up a very big magnetic system in the rocket and send it to the moon. And for this whole mission some astronauts, who go to the sky and do the mission, they will also be sent to the moon. For this mission, the world's leaders were ready, but they would have needed some scientists who could explain the rest about the magnetic device. That's why now the president selected Alex and Roland. Hearing their own name, both of them were very scared, because they had never traveled in space before. They were not afraid of this either, because there was a risk in this mission, or this whole mission was a game of death. But to protect their own families and the world, they had to do this. That's why both agreed. And now before going on the mission, Alex says goodbye to Maddie, and he also tells her to find his children and dad. They're Ronald's friend, when found out that he was also going for this mission. So he felt very bad. That's why now facing a lot of difficulties, came to meet Roland. As soon as he sees his friend, he became very emotional. Both hug each other in tears. Now both knew that maybe Roland won't come back alive. That's why they get married soon. And they spend a lot of good time with each other, after which they came to Europe, from where they started preparing to go on this mission. 2 more astronauts were also going with them. There Alex's dad's condition gets very bad. He knew that now he won't survive. That's why he said goodbye to both the children. After a few moments, he died, because of which both the children were left alone. And they were lucky, because a good man offers them a lift to the city. On the other side, Roland's module is launched. And now Roland came to the moon, and started looking for a suitable place, where he could set up his things. Maddie also found Alex's children. That's why she immediately contacts Alex. Knowing this, he became very happy, and now he says goodbye to his children by video calling, after which this mission of his started, and Roland's module lands on the moon. Now the whole video of his mission was being shown live all over the world. All the scientists and astronauts come to the moon, and start setting up their device machine there. After doing calculations, it is found that the place where they chose to reach their target, but it will take them 6 hours. Apart from this, when they find out about the problem in the battery, then they also think of changing it. But it also took 5 hours to change it. So now the general contacts them. He says that you scan the entire surface of the moon and tell us about the coordinates of the place where the impact has occurred so that we can send some help from here. Now to scan the entire surface of the moon. These people send Roland and an astronaut girl from the spaceship so that they can send the coordinates to the Earth. But this mission was getting more and more difficult with every passing moment. It seemed that the Earth could also be destroyed. That's why people all over the world were praying for the success of the mission. But somewhere there were some people who were not even a little scared, because maybe they had accepted that today is our last day. That's why these people were enjoying the last moments of their lives. Now the battery had changed somehow, but the situation there started getting worse, because then their small spaceship started shaking violently due to malfunction. Scientists on the ground were waiting for their coordinates to come. Then their contact breaks into each other. But later it was found that the spaceship of Roland and the astronauts was destroyed due to the impact of the stone. The astronaut fell into space, but Roland caught her hand. Roland tried a lot to save her, but she was killed due to falling into the spaceship. And when Roland contacts Alex, he finds out that there is something wrong with his device machine. That's why they can't send the coordinates to the ground. But now they had only 10 minutes left. That's why Roland still has courage. He starts the device as soon as possible and starts the process of sending all the data of the moon to the scientists on the ground, due to which a rocket of the ground is launched from there. Now half of their work was done, and he also had time to escape. That's why the other astronaut tells Alex to leave without taking Roland. But Alex refused that I will not go without taking Roland. He also contacts Roland and tells him to come back as soon as possible. But because Roland's spaceship was broken, so it was very difficult for him to go back. That's why he contacts them and tells them to go from here. They didn't want to leave him, but even if they didn't want to, they launched their module and had to leave from here. That's why Alex was very sad. Now at the same time, there is a big blast on the moon, due to which two pieces of the moon are formed. And it happened exactly as they thought. In the blast, the meteorite and the moon really get away from each other. And finally, the moon comes to its original position in the orbit. But all the people on the ground were worried about whether the coming people are alive or not. They were in tension. But soon they found out that Alex and the last astronaut were alive in the explosion. All the people were sad because of the explosion. But Alex and his survival made them very happy. Roland's wife was very sad about his death, but she sees that he has left one last message for me. He had written on the heart mark that I love you very much, seeing which she was very sad. She starts crying emotionally. After a few days, Alex and the astronaut land on the ground, where everyone is very happy to see them again and their bravery. Here the president himself welcomes them. Here Alex is very happy to meet his children and Maddie. When Alex and Maddie look at the sky, there were two pieces of broken moon, which indicates that now humans have a new chance in life. They walked ahead with a smile. And with this, the film ends here.